All right, sunny day this time. So for one, chronograph should give us our most accurate readings possible. We got a couple hours of daylight left. And for number two, I should be able to get some better footage and have a nicer day. This is my third round of load development for the 6mm UPC. So here I've got a reloader 15 test, and we're going all the way up to as much powder as I could fit in the cases. This is accurate 2460, but I'm going up to 27.4 grains here as well, or until I see pressure signs. If I start seeing pressure signs here, the rest get taken apart and loaded with something else. I need to find my top end. So I'm gonna shoot all three charge weights of the 2460 from lowest to highest, just one at a time, to check the brass for pressure signs. Here goes. $26.83. Error. Still no pressure signs. Maybe a tiny little mark of an ejector. See if I can get a reading off of this last one, be the most important. 2709. That one's got some pressure sign. Got a little ejector mark and a little bit of flattened primer going on. Nothing serious, but enough that is maximum. So here I'm going to do the same thing with my reloader 15 loads. I'm going to shoot all 5 charge weights one at a time from lowest to highest and measure the velocity to make sure that the loads are safe, and if there's one that shows excessive pressure, I'll just cut it out before I even get started. 2630, that's looking pretty good. 26.3 grains, no pressure, we're good. 2679, it's a little hotter. We've got a little ejector smear, shiny spot, but the primer's still really round, so I'm going to move up. 2717, no pressure signs. 2736, no signs of pressure to speak of. Tiny little ejector mark, but it's just a shiny spot, no burr. Highest charge, 27.4. This is as much as I can fit in the case. 2774. That is awesome. And we have enough of an ejector mark that I can kind of see a smear, feel a tiny little burr, but no flat primer. I think we're good. I wouldn't say that that 27.4 load is ideal, but if it shoots really good, I would load it. But I'm going to call that max. So I'm going to move to my highest charge weight just in case. I don't want sunshine to run out on me, so I can read this darn chronograph. Because if I shoot the rest that are in between these, I don't really need to know what velocity they are until later. I just want to make sure I don't hit anything weird in this highest charge weight. $27.60. 2738. 2804. 2733. That's it. I'm going to get packed out of here. Okay, so we got Couple really good groups. That's a really nice group. These are gonna measure out good. Can't wait to talk about it. All right, so I'm finished at the range. I went out and found my maximum with the Accurate 2460 powder, and we are calling 27.4 grains maximum. I started to see a slight pressure sign there, which is these guys right here, and every single one has about the same mark. Let's see if I can get it to show. Right there, next to 223. There's a little shiny ejector mark right there. So, and the primers are starting to get a little flat. Every single one of these primers has a round edge to it, but it's a little bit flat. So I don't know how this piece of PSD brass got in there. When I was sorting, I must have just accidentally threw one. So that one of my flyers in this otherwise stellar group, but I didn't take note of it because I thought this was all Lake City 223 brass. But anyway, we have gone through everything, and so for 26.8 grains, we got a 3/4 inch group on the button, and our average is 2,700 feet per second. For 27.1 grains, our average was 2,683 feet per second. So less than that, don't know why. And our group size was 1.70. For 27.4 grains, we had that one flyer. I don't know what caused it. It could have been that PSD brass. It could have not been that PSD brass. But we shot a 1.22 inch group. I didn't call a flyer in there because I just now noticed that piece of PSD brass, but I would generally measure the best of group if I have a called flyer, and a weird piece of brass, I almost would call that, but I can't remember which it was, so we're gonna leave it as it sits, 1.2. Here I just shot a 10 shot group of my 26.5 grain load. 5 shots with Federal brass and 5 shots with Lake City brass. I just wanted to see if there was a difference. It seems like there might be a small difference because these 4 right here, or these 5, excuse me, are all with Lake City brass. And these 4 here are with Federal, other than this clean cold bore shot. Either way, I threw this one out because it was a clean cold bore first shot of the day. And our best 9 went into 1.41 inches, which is pretty good 10 shot group. I can live with that. Good looking ladder set up there, and our average velocity for the 10 shot there for 26.5 grains was 2690. So once again, pretty sure, yeah, faster than our 27.1 grain group. So interesting. I don't understand all of this. I think chance has a lot to do with it. Statistics has a ton to do with chance, and I just think sometimes dispersion of velocity and bullet grouping is not your friend. Next we have a full ladder with reloader 15, and I started this at 25.8 grains. Seemed to be pretty good. Our average velocity was 2645. And we had a 1.5 inch group overall, and this was a clean bore shot. Our best 4 went into 0.320. I cleaned the rifle between the 2 different powders, so that's a clean bore shot, and that's pretty impressive. That's not bad. For 26.3 grains, we had an average of 2680. This reloader 15 acted absolutely perfectly as expected, so consistent that I cannot even describe how shocked I am that this performed in a linear line. I mean, exactly as per would be expected from pressure. So average velocity of 2680, and for 1.045 inch group. The next was 26.8 grains of reloader 15. We got an average velocity of 2729 feet per second and a 1.085 inch group. Here we had 27.1 grains for an average velocity of 2,742 feet per second and a 0.880 inch group, which just, boy, that tickles me. That just warms the cockles of my heart. And then our last charge, which absolutely was a max, I'll show you the heads of those, 2762 feet per second for 1.050 inch group. And I don't say max pressure as in, Holio, you go any hotter and you're gonna blow something up. It's when I started seeing noticeable pressure signs, because it's 45 degrees right now. Summertime's coming. Chambers are gonna be different from each other. Especially right now, it's a new reamer. It's gonna be a big, brand new chamber. As the reamer wears down, it's gonna be a smaller chamber. We're not playing with like trying to hunt down where's dangerous and where's not. When we start seeing pressure signs, that's maximum. Here, with the Reloader 15, I was shocked to see less primer flattening. These primers are super round. Very, very good looking primers. But there is an ejector smear right between the twos on 223. Right there's a shiny spot. And it's just a little ejector smear. Not quite. I thought I could feel a couple of them with my fingernail when I was out at the range. But it's not quite that bad where you can feel it with a finger. See, you can see this one right on the L for Lake City. But you can see the primer's still nice and round there. It's got a nice contour to it. So I wouldn't say there's any primer flattening, absolutely not any cratering to speak of. I can't even hook a fingernail on that. But there is a little shiny spot. The next charge weight down, 27.1 grains, had even less but a hint of an ejector mark. But that's a good stopping off point. It's safe. I think it'll be safe across different barrels, across different chambers. It'll make my brass last a long, long time. And I think it's pretty obvious that it makes the gun shoot good. So we're gonna wrap that up there. That's our next round of data. 2 more powders to try with this bullet weight, and then we're on to the next bullet weight.